Welcome to our video series for home sellers. I'm Chuck Marunde, founder of iRealty Virtual Brokers. In this video, I'll tell you the truth about what it takes today to be a successful for sale by owner, and I'll tell you why the deck is stacked against you. There's so much misunderstanding on this subject. Maybe I should have called this video, "Would someone please tell the truth about for sale by owners?" Before we talk about the most effective ways to find a buyer who's willing to pay the highest price for a home like yours, let's first acknowledge the problem. The problem is that selling your own home in the internet age is an uphill battle, more so than many realize. In 2016, the National Association of Realtors published a survey which showed that only 8% of homes sold across the U.S. were for sale by owners. But there's a more revealing statistic. 85% of for sale by owners ultimately give up and list with a broker. Of course, that doesn't mean the other 15% sold their homes. Many give up and take their homes off the market entirely. These are not promising statistics if you want to be a for sale by owner. Here's the single most important goal for any for sale by owner. The goal of selling a home is to get the highest possible price in the least amount of time. Even if you have all the time in the world, the goal is still to get the highest net proceeds possible. That's it. That should be your single focus. Since that should be the goal of every for sale by owner, the way you market your home and to whom you market should be consistent with your goal. For example, if you do things that will not expose your home to the largest number of qualified buyers, you either won't get your price, or it'll take longer to sell your home, or you simply won't get it sold. That would be inconsistent with your goal. You have to decide what your primary goal is going to be. Is it to net the most money? Or is it to prove to your spouse and friends that you can sell your own home? Or is your first and only goal to save a real estate commission? I just talked to a gentleman from Alaska. He was interested in a vacant lot in Sequim, Washington. He contacted a for sale by owner and offered 1/2 of what the property was worth. And guess what? The seller accepted the offer immediately on the phone. The buyer was surprised, but quite delighted. The seller left tens of thousands of dollars on the table, maybe as much as $50,000, way more than any real estate commission would have been. And do you think the seller ever learned that he left a lot of money on the table? No. How could he know? The buyer wasn't going to tell him, and there's no one else to tell him either. So check this. That seller tells friends and family for the next 10 years that he once sold his own property and that he got his asking price. And he has no idea how much money he left on the table. But he was a successful for sale by owner, right? That's what he and everyone else thinks. In 2015, the average for sale by owner sold their home for $39,000 less than the average price of homes listed and sold by real estate brokers nationwide. That's scary. My intent in this video is to give you straight information so you can make wise decisions for yourself and your family. What you do with this information is totally up to you. Here's the thing. Selling a home today is not like it was 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. It's not as simple as putting a sign in your front yard and waiting for a buyer to knock on your door. Yet 42% of for sale by owners do rely on a yard sign, and 32% rely on friends, neighbors, or relatives. But these methods of connecting with buyers are the least of the effective methods today, since the vast majority of buyers are using the internet. What makes this really so hard for so many for sale by owners to swallow is that they'll hear a story about a for sale by owner who sold their own home on the first weekend, and that story is told 1,000 times for years. People start thinking anyone can do that too. But that's the exception, not the rule. Remember, the rule is 85% to 95% of for sale by owners fail. Do they tell everyone about how they failed? Absolutely not. People don't broadcast their failures, and I don't want you to fail at all. Keep your eyes on the primary goal. Who cares who sells your home as long as you get the highest net proceeds possible? In the few minutes it takes to watch this video, I'll give you the highlights of what has taken me a lifetime to learn. I started in real estate sales 40 years ago and practiced real estate law for 20 years, and for the past decade, I've run my own brokerage. So, in this video, I'm not shooting from the hip, and I'm not guessing about anything. I'm sharing the truth about how things work. And the truth is, trying to sell your own home may not actually help you accomplish your goal of getting the highest net proceeds. Net proceeds represent the funds you get after all your selling costs, including the real estate commission. Many for sale by owners focus totally on the idea of saving the real estate commission as their primary goal. In fact, the number one goal of 48% of for sale by owners is to save the real estate commission. But if they don't market to the largest number of buyers for a home like theirs, they can end up getting less and netting less than they would have had they paid a commission and marketed to a much larger group of qualified buyers. I've seen this many times over my long career. Please recognize that my goal in this video is not to persuade you to list with a real estate broker. My goal is to tell you what it takes to successfully sell a home for the highest price today. So, if you're going to net the most money, what is the number one challenge you have as a for sale by owner today? The number one challenge you have is not whether you list it with a broker or sell it yourself. The number one challenge you have is connecting with highly qualified buyers looking for a home like yours in your price range. In other words, you want to get the attention of people who are not tire kickers, who are financially qualified to buy your home, and who will actually buy your home. Connecting with qualified buyers like that requires good marketing and a lot of good people. You've got to reach out and connect with those buyers. Now, if you can do that as effectively as a broker who has a massive internet presence like myself, then you can do this yourself. But do you have the time, the funds, and the know-how to build that kind of powerful online marketing system for buyers? You can't expect a qualified buyer from Southern California to find your home by driving around randomly and stumbling upon the sign in your front yard. That's just not the way the vast majority of buyers shop for a home today. What a sign in your front yard really does is tell your neighbors that your home is for sale. Now, one of them might possibly know a buyer, but statistically that's very unlikely. Even if they do, will that buyer pay top dollar for your home? Or is that buyer the neighbor's brother-in-law who's looking for a garage sale price? Realize that getting top dollar for your home is a matter of supply and demand, and if you only market to a small percentage of the buyers, you reduce the demand by reducing the universe of potential buyers. And that means that one buyer who does come along will try to beat you up on the price. Happens all the time. I've known more than a few buyers who were in no hurry and decided to wait until they got a steal on a house, no matter how long it took. If that's the buyer who finds your home, you're in for a stressful negotiation. And if he doesn't get his low price, he'll simply walk away and leave you hanging. Now let's get back to signage. You might say, well, real estate brokers use signs in front of the homes they list. They wouldn't do that if the signs didn't bring them buyers, and you would be right. But guess what? The primary reason brokers use signs in front of their listings is to generate buyer leads, not to sell the home with the sign. That probably surprises you. For brokers, listings and signage are lead generators. It is rare that a person who calls off a sign actually buys that home. In the real estate industry, we're taught how to use scripts on the telephone to reel in a person who calls off a sign so we can show them other homes if they don't buy the one they ask about. And they rarely do. Brokers also love signs on their listings because those signs advertise them free. And it becomes a form of branding for their brokerage. You may not have known that, but I've always loved shining a flashlight into the shadows and revealing the truth. Let's talk about what else you could do to market your home. Well, you can't put your home in the local MLS because you have to be a licensed real estate broker to do that, right? You probably realize that not being in the MLS means you will miss out on thousands of potential buyers who use the MLS online to find their next home. That alone means you have an extraordinary disadvantage. Now, when I say the deck is stacked against for sale by owners, it really is. You need to figure out how to use the system to your advantage so you can make the most money. The answers you get are only as good as the questions you ask, so be careful how you choose your questions. For example, here are two completely different questions which will result in different goals and perhaps substantially different outcomes. How can I sell my own home? And how can I get the highest net proceeds from the sale of my home? If you focus only on the first question, you may sell your own home if you are in the 8%, but you may not get the highest net proceeds. If you also ask the second question, you will at least get the mental juices going, and your subconscious will be trying to answer the question even when you're asleep. There are many ways to dump a house on the market, but there are only a few ways to get the highest price from the best buyers. In terms of marketing one's own home, some for sale by owners will build their own website with photos of their home and a nice description, and of course their goal is to have an internet presence. There's nothing wrong with that, but no one's going to find it in a Google search. Why not? Well, it takes years and a lot of perseverance to get the kind of search engine ranking that will make a site show up on the internet when someone does a search. When buyers search for homes, they search in two primary ways. First, buyers use local online MLS sites and syndicated sites like Zillow and Trulia. Second, buyers are using Google and other search engines to search for specific properties by using keywords and phrases. So let's look at these two ways buyers search for properties in this market. Our iRealty MLS sites get used a lot by buyers all over the country, largely because our sites are optimized for the search engines, and buyers love them because they were designed and programmed specifically the way buyers want them based on the last 10 years of research and constant tweaking. Our MLS sites include all the local listings, no matter who has the property listed, and these sites have a lot of specialized features buyers love. What's my point? As a for sale by owner, you obviously cannot compete with that kind of powerful marketing to qualified buyers. So building an MLS site that thousands of buyers will find and use is not an option for you. Where could you show up online as a for sale by owner? I should acknowledge that you could post your home on Craigslist, but Craigslist has become a target for spammers and con artists, so I can't recommend Craigslist. The best buyers are not relying on Craigslist anyway. Zillow will show you're for sale by owners, but even with Zillow, you still won't get before thousands of potential buyers. Highly qualified buyers are not using Zillow in large numbers to find their next dream home. I know, at least in my market. You see, I paid Zillow over $2,300 a month to generate high-quality buyer leads, and in all the time I did that, including prior years, I never got one good, highly qualified lead that actually closed on a purchase. I got a lot of leads I didn't want for low-priced mobile homes and ugly foreclosures, but I didn't get leads for nice homes in the medium to upper price ranges. Now, this is relevant for you as a for sale by owner. If you're thinking Zillow is the key to selling your home, listen to what I'm going to share with you now. I spent thousands of dollars experimenting with Zillow as a selling tool, and in my rural market it was a tragic waste of money because those highly qualified buyers are not relying on Zillow to find their homes. I spent more than $30,000 with Zillow to connect with qualified buyers, but the most qualified buyers don't rely on Zillow. The bottom line is you can't rely on Zillow as a for sale by owner tool either. Oh, I don't want to forget to acknowledge that there are commercial for sale by owner websites where you can advertise your home for a fee. While those services claim to be the panacea, none of the buyers I've had in the past 10 years had any interest at all in searching commercial for sale by owner websites. They just don't care to go there. They have a much larger database of homes available in one of our MLS sites with 100% of all the local listings. Let's move on to another important issue. Highly qualified buyers are also wary of for sale by owners. Some have had bad experiences, and those experiences stick with a person for a lifetime. Buyers prefer a professional between them and the seller. That's not me saying that. That's what thousands of buyers around the U.S. say. Now at this point, you might be saying, well, I'm willing to pay a buyer's agent a 3% commission if he brings a buyer. Now here's how the real estate industry is stacked against you. Are you ready for an insider secret few people know? Here it is. Real estate brokers often receive a flyer or an email from a for sale by owner offering to pay a small buyer's commission. Now, I understand that for sale by owners sincerely believe this is a good marketing technique and that this should motivate brokers to bring buyers. Unfortunately, it will not. And now I'll explain exactly why brokers will not bring you buyers. I'm not speculating about how brokers think about this. I know how real estate brokers think. I know their business models and what motivates them. I've been talking with real estate brokers for decades about for sale by owners. When a broker receives your email or flyer offering a 3% commission, the broker is thinking several things. Let's get inside the broker's head for a minute. These are their thoughts. First, why should I help them sell their home? They should have listed with me if they wanted my help. I've heard brokers actually say that. The second thought they have goes something like this. I've spent years and a lot of money building my business and learning how to sell homes. I spend practically all my time 7 days a week working to connect with buyers. This is how I feed my children and put a roof over their heads. Why should I hand all my knowledge, experience, and years of investing, hand it all over to a for sale by owner on a silver platter? That's what brokers are thinking. And you have to admit, their thoughts are not totally unreasonable. Now let's get to another marketing reality. Since buyers are using the internet to search for homes, building an internet presence that is going to be seen by thousands of potential buyers is much more involved than most for sale by owners realize. You see, it's not just an MLS site that attracts buyers. Buyers are also looking for answers to all their questions, and they like to do a lot of research on the internet. This is a major key to connecting with qualified buyers. Not doing this means missing out on a large percentage of the buyers. I've been building my online sites for 10 years, although my first site was built in 1995. It takes a lot of knowledge about SEO, or search engine optimization, to build a site that buyers can find. It took me since 1995 to learn how to get the high search engine ranking for my sites, and it took thousands of hours of research, study, and tens of thousands of dollars in software and building various sites before I could say I understood how the search engine algorithms work. I've published thousands of articles on the internet to connect with buyers. iRealty Virtual Brokers is the only brokerage in my market and one of the few nationwide that has put so much into building its effective and powerful online marketing system to qualified buyers in a very specific niche. And it's taken me 10 years, practically 7 days a week. But it's really taken me 40 years to acquire the real estate knowledge and experience that I now bring to internet marketing. My point is this. As a for sale by owner, you cannot possibly expect to duplicate this kind of massive marketing presence in short order to connect with all the potentially qualified buyers who are searching the internet. If you worked night and day for the next 3 years, it would still be impossible. It's taken me 10 years at a minimum, and I do this for a living full-time, 7 days a week. The fact that you won't have a large internet presence as a for sale by owner is very important for you because this is where a lot of qualified buyers come from. What does all this mean? Well, it means that the gigantic challenge you have as a for sale by owner is connecting with qualified buyers today. Knowing what I know, if I wanted to sell my own home, I would not be a for sale by owner because I'd miss out on the largest number of qualified buyers who would pay the highest price for my home. Granted, I could put my home in the MLS myself and use my internet marketing presence to advertise it, but just like you, I need other real estate brokers to be able to bring buyers and get paid for their time. Could I get lucky as a for sale by owner and quickly sell my home directly to a buyer for the price I wanted? Maybe. But relying on luck is not a wise approach in this life, especially when it involves money. Now, let's jump to another subject that you need to handle as a for sale by owner. As a seller, you have a gazillion legal liabilities. Unfortunately, you and I live in a very litigious society, and buyers are suing sellers and real estate brokers every day of the week somewhere. And frivolous lawsuits are the name of the game. You could do everything right, but if you don't have all the forms and language required by all the laws and regulations, if you haven't completed the required legal documents with the right deadlines, And if you have any contract ambiguities or conflicts, you can find yourself hiring an attorney to defend yourself from frivolous claims. You could easily spend $20,000 to $40,000 on an attorney just to prove you didn't do anything wrong. And if a judge ruled against you, and believe me, judges are not necessarily all wise, you could end up with a six-figure judgment. And for what? To save a 5% real estate commission? It's not worth it. It's not just the money, it's the stress that can steal your peace for years to come. The truth is, a for sale by owner has a huge disadvantage trying to sell their own home today. You can say it's not fair, or you can tell your spouse you're going to try it anyway. To heck with all the naysayers. In the end, everything I shared in this video is still true. I don't believe in luck, so I'm not going to end this video by wishing you luck. I do hope this video has been helpful. I'm going to leave you with some sage advice. Do your research. Make objective and intelligent decisions as to whether you try to sell your house yourself or list it with a good broker. And do what's best for your family in the long run. By the way, all real estate brokers are not the same, don't forget that. Only a tiny percentage really understand marketing and work hard to create a powerful marketing system online for your listing. If you'd like to learn more insider secrets about how the real estate industry works and how to protect yourself from all kinds of nonsense, I highly recommend my book, The 7 Myths of Selling Your Home, which I wrote specifically for homeowners. You can find it on Amazon in paperback or Kindle versions. And from all of us at iRealty Virtual Brokers, I do wish you all the best, and if you need us, you know how to find us.